Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the PSE for inviting me here today, and thank you to everyone who decided to delay their Christmas shopping to later or tomorrow or on Sunday. So hopefully what I'll share with you today will help you actually decide what to do with the bonus or the 13th month that you will get. I think it's very timely that we talk about it right now. Maybe we should have actually talked about this a little bit earlier. But nevertheless, just want to give you some piece of advice, some suggestions on what to do with your bonus. Okay, so clearly, I mean, a lot of us already have our 13th month or will be getting it soon. And there are so many things we can do with it. Of course, some of us want to buy the latest gadgets, latest phones, latest iPads. For the ladies, of course, like me, we love buying shoes and bags, and this might be your opportunity to buy the designer bag that you've always wanted. For some, it could be your opportunity to finally take your dream vacation. But that said, I think one of the things that you should consider is actually to use part of your 13th month pay to make some financial investments. And in fact, if you haven't started yet, maybe this would be a good place to start making financial investments. And the reason why we are suggesting financial investments is because financial investments actually are things that may be emotionally hard for you to think of because unlike your gadgets, your clothes, your shoes, your bags, and whatever, you can't brag about them, you can't talk about them in social media, post nice pictures. But for me, the reason why I'm into financial investments is because they work for you silently and diligently, continuously. I mean, I'd like to share with you this quote from George Clason from The Richest Man in Babylon, the most inspiring book on wealth ever written. Every gold piece you save is a slave to work for you. Every copper it earns is its child that also can earn for you. If you would become wealthy, then what you save must earn, and its children must earn. That all may help to give to you the abundance that you crave. So I mean, think about it. All of us, our end goal is to be financially free or financial freedom. And the nice thing about it, if you prioritize financial investments, eventually your financial investments will work for you and allow you to buy what you want. And for me, the more important thing is it will allow me to do what I really want to do. I know there are a lot of people who are in jobs that they don't really want, but they still do it because they need a paycheck. Okay, so aside from that, you are able to spend time with your family, with people that matter, and you are free from worry about getting sick or worry about actually closing to retirement and you don't have any savings. So what are you going to do? Can you actually afford to retire? So these are some of the things that um, financial freedom will allow you to address. Okay, just want to remind people that having a high paying job doesn't actually equate to financial freedom. I'm a parent, and of course I always tell my kids to study hard and pray hard so that you can get a good job. I think that's also something that your parents most likely told you. But then again, a lot of people with high paying jobs actually don't do well. Okay, so 60% of NBA players are broke within 5 years of retirement, and 78% of NFL players are either broke or struggling financially after 2 years of retirement. So that's not a very good number. And aside from that, usually, you also have problems with people having a high paying job. Because if you have a high paying job, the tendency is you will delay investing. And then as your paycheck gets bigger, you also give into the temptation to upgrade your lifestyle. For example, maybe when you started working, you were just taking the bus or the jeep to work. But then again, with a higher paycheck, you now buy a car. Maybe you start with a Vios. But then with even a higher pay, you upgrade to a maybe a German luxury car. So that's just how it goes. So your lifestyle becomes more expensive. And then, of course, you become a prisoner to your job. Now you cannot quit or you cannot change jobs to something that will require you to work less because you need the paycheck to support your lifestyle. Okay, which in turn, of course, you will say again, I don't have any money left. So again, you delay investing. So, it becomes a vicious cycle for you. Okay. And, I just like to share that not many enjoy financial freedom. Okay. There is a study by Limra that says when 25-year-olds today reach 60, only 1% will be wealthy and only 4% will be financially independent. 5% will still need to work and 63% will be broke. 27%, of course, maybe it's a life expectancy thing. They will not make it past 60. Okay, and a lot of us, well, we aspire to go to the US, of course, because we feel like it's the land of opportunity. But that said, even Americans have the same problems. 33% or a third of Americans have nothing saved up for retirement. 23% have less than $10,000. If you think about it, 13% have $300,000 or more. It may seem to be a lot of money, but considering that you'll be living for another 10, 20 years, that's actually not a lot of money. So not a lot of people really have a lot saved up for retirement or for financial freedom. Then there's another survey locally by Rappler, okay, on Life Insurance 101 East Asia Retirement Survey. Okay, so it says that 90% of workers worry about being poor in retirement. Okay, and people are anxious about, exhausting their savings by retirement, poor health, nobody will take care of them, and personally, this is something that I don't want to do. I don't want to be a burden to my children. But the problem is 78% of elderly retirees are actually living with their grown children, most likely because they cannot support themselves. They need to depend on their children. Okay. So, with the big bonus, there's always this temptation to invest in luxury goods. For example, if you watch the commercial of Patek Philippe, it says, start your own tradition. You never actually own the watch. You just watch after it for the next generation. So, it's very emotionally appealing, di ba? Na you buy a Patek Philippe or even a diamond ring. You buy yourself a diamond ring. And of course, can you imagine when your grandchildren will get married, they will give it to their fiancé, and this came from my grandmother, blah, 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 So it's very tempting, emotionally there is this appeal, and you can see these luxury goods, and it makes you feel good, diba? And even say an Hermes bag or a Chanel, this is for my daughter, this is not for me, right? I'm buying this for them. But of course, you use it while they're still young. So my only comment is, if you haven't set aside financial investments yet, I think it's better for you to just delay investing in these things, because the problem with luxury goods is, of course, they don't earn interest for you. And the problem is, if the time comes that there is some emergency requiring you to sell them, it's true that they keep their value. But if you need to sell them right away to raise money for emergency, let's say you get sick or you really need the money, most likely will end up selling them at a loss. That's what you mean by an illiquid investment. Um, you end up selling them at a bad price because you really need the money right away. Okay. So a lot of people actually are thinking, nako, investment. Then I'll just set aside the money in the bank as savings. But we'd like to point out, or I'd like to point out that savings and investing are two different things. Okay. When you save, you only set aside money for safety. When you invest or investing, it's a process of putting your savings into active use to generate more profits. Okay, so it's different. And one of the things I'd like to share is savings is not enough to reach financial freedom. So we did a computation, assuming that you save 60,000 a year or 5,000 pesos a month. Okay, in year zero. Okay, and you just put it in savings, which earns 1% per annum. In 40 years, your 60,000 will only become 89,000. Okay, which is not a lot, but if you invest it and you earn an 8% interest per annum, your 60,000 after 40 years will become 1.3 million. So you can see the significant difference in returns of savings versus investing. So if you just save, it will be very difficult for you to reach your retirement goals or to have enough saved up for retirement. Okay, so why then should you invest in stocks? Okay, so I'm glad to know that most people know what stocks are, so we'll just breeze through this. A stock is a type of security that signifies ownership in corporations and represents a claim on part of the corporation's assets and earnings. And this is a definition from Investopedia. Okay, it's the place, the stock market is the place where you can invest in other people's companies. So the Philippine Stock Exchange is where you can invest in companies like Ayala Land, Jollibee, Cebu Pacific, and SM. So so in fact, I always joke my children and tell them when we go to SM, I own this mall, because I'm a shareholder of SM Prime. Or when we go to Jollibee, I'll tell them I'm the owner of Jollibee because of course I own shares. Even if you just own one share, you are a shareholder. So it's ownership in a business, okay? And the great thing about this is if the company's profits go up, you as a stockholder or investor are rewarded through price appreciation or um, dividends, like cash dividends, stock dividends. So you can see here an example, which is SM Prime, or the owner of the SM malls. The orange line is the earnings of SM Prime. You can see that the trend is up and the share price has followed as such. So if you are able to identify a good company whose earnings are growing, then it will make a very profitable investment for you and your money will grow significantly. Okay, I know that a lot of people are, I guess, afraid about the volatility of stocks and consider them very risky. This is something that, you know, we are not denying. You can also lose money when you buy stocks, but then you cannot avoid them because they provide the highest return among all asset classes. Okay, so here is a study of the different returns of different funds that you can buy from, say, the banks or the mutual fund companies. So bonds, balanced funds, equity index funds. As you can see, from 2006 to 2016, the 10-year period, the average annual return of bonds is the lowest at 5.8%. But for equity index funds, you can see that the average return is 14.04% or the highest. Okay, but as you can see also, the volatility is the highest because there are some years where the returns could be negative, which is the blue bar at the bottom. Okay, but the good news is, notwithstanding the volatility of stocks, risk of losses diminishes in the long term. Okay, here's another study that I'd like to share with you from Jeremy Siegel's book, Stocks for the Long Run. Okay, this is the maximum and minimum real holding period returns of the S&P 500 or the US index from 1802 to 1997. Okay, so you can see the dark orange bar, which is stocks. If you look at year one, you will see that, in a 1-year time frame, there have been periods where the return would be 67%. But then again, there are years where you could lose 39%, which makes it really frightening as an investment. Okay, but if you look at year 10, it becomes interesting because you can see here that by year 10, the maximum return is 17%, whereas the maximum loss is 4%. But compare it with, say, bonds and T-bills, you can see that the returns of stocks or the potential losses of stocks is much less compared to bonds and T-bills. And then when you go to the 20-year time frame, the returns on stocks are still the highest among the different asset classes, and the probability of loss has actually diminished. So maximum or the minimum return is still 1%, which is higher than bonds and T-bills. And then, of course, if it becomes 30 years, the minimum return is 3%. So, just goes to show the longer you hold on to the stocks, the probability of losses diminish. And in fact, based on this study, it shows that you actually don't lose anything anymore. If history repeats itself, then of course, this means that if you are young and you buy stocks, chances that you'll be sitting at a loss after a very long time is very minimal or non-existent. Okay, just some important reminders when investing in stocks. Use only long-term money. So as you can see, the risk of losses diminish over time. So therefore, best if you put something that you're sure that you can afford to keep in the stock market for a very, very long time. And only allocate a certain portion of your investment portfolio in stocks. Don't put everything there because of the volatility of the market. Okay, so I think, you shouldn't delay investing. Start investing as early as possible. Okay, we're going to make a comparison of short-term and long-term investments. Let's assume first a turtle investor who only earns 25,000 pesos a month. So because of that, he's a bit worried. He starts investing right away, 5,000 pesos a month at the age of 26. So total investments would reach 2.4 million by the age of 65. Whereas, you have this other guy, the rabbit investor, who earns 50,000 a month. So he's thinking, well, I'm earning a lot anyway, so I'll just enjoy my life first. And then I'll start investing when I'm 46. Anyway, I'll still set aside 2.4 million. Okay, so the investor delays investing. Anyway, he can still set aside 2.4 million. So after the investment time frame, by the time the two retire, let's see what happens. So you can see the person, although both of them set aside 2.4 million pesos, the investor or the turtle investor who started investing at the age of 26 actually end up with 26 million pesos by the age of 65. This is based on an assumed annual return of 10%. On the other hand, the rabbit investor who just started investing at age 46, was able to grow his money, but only to 6.8, 6.9 million. I mean, I'd rather have 26 million compared to 7 million pesos. So, it's just better that you start early so you can maximize the power of compounding. Okay. So just a real life example, my children, I've been investing for them every time they get money for their birthdays or money for Christmas. Okay, we've been investing in the stock market since 2007. So total years invested, 11 years. On an annual basis, the return is around 14.7%. But you see there, the total capital versus the amount that we've put in, which is a little bit at a time, it's already triple or up by 222.3%. So, it really works. So I'm really a believer of starting to invest early, rather than, if they had bought toys, which probably are now going to be worthless for them. Okay, I know that right now a lot of people are afraid of the stock market because in the Philippines it has not been doing well. But remember what Warren Buffett has said, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So, the graphics of this slide, you'll see how it is when a mall has a sale, of course. I think, there are some of us who actually go there 30 minutes before mall opening, so we get the best deals. But of course, when the stock market goes on sale, the reaction is the opposite. We run away. I think the attitude should be the same. When the stock market goes on sale, we should actually be very excited. Okay. Just remember, yes, there are a lot of bad news. People are worried about the Trump trade policies, Philippines, rising inflation, the policies of our president also. We don't know the weak peso. I mean, yes, there are a lot of problems, a lot of concerns, but the market doesn't go on sale or doesn't become cheap unless there are problems. I just like to say that, these problems will also come to pass and markets go down, but they eventually recover when the problems fade away. So you can see, for example, the encircled time frames. The first encircled time frame is the Asian financial crisis. You can see how the market has gone down from around 96, 97 to 2002. But eventually, we were able to overcome that period and enter into new highs. Then, of course, we had the global financial crisis in '08, '07, '08. And of course, again, we were able to overcome that and actually reach new highs for the market. Okay, and the good news is Philippine stocks are mostly cheap right now. So just to look at this, because I didn't know how else to better show you that stocks are cheap. This is a list of the stocks that COL Financial actually covers, and we compare their PE ratios of these stocks versus their 10-year historical average. So those stocks on the left whose bars are higher than zero mean that they are trading at a premium to their 10-year historical average. So you can see that there are only a handful of them that are actually trading at a premium compared to their 10-year historical average. Most of the others are trading at a discount compared to their 10-year historical average because of all the worries around the country. And why do I think the weakness of the market is only temporary? We have a lot of good long-term things going for us. For example, in the Philippines, our demographics is very strong. It's very favorable. The average age of Filipino is only 23 years old. And I'm very excited about that because a 23-year-old person is not yet at the maximum earnings capacity. And of course, young people have this greater tendency to spend compared to older people. And the population of the Philippines is still growing by around 1.5 to 1.7%, which is also good because think about it, if you're a business, the market that you are addressing is still growing naturally. You don't have to try to grab market share from your other competitors. Okay, and despite all the bad news about the government, over the years, our government's finances have actually been strengthening. The government's debt to GDP is at the 42% level. Yes, we know that the deficit of the government is going up because of all the spending on infrastructure. Nevertheless, a 3% deficit is very much something that the government can afford to do or to spend on because the debt to GDP will still remain at around 42%. So we're not that worried about it. Okay. Remember last year we had some adjustments on the excise taxes, some new excise taxes. So that will actually help our government have more money, which is good for us. And then despite all the criticism about economic growth, in the third quarter of this year, we had a 6% GDP growth, and that's considered to be slow. But then again, if you take into consideration the average growth of the global economy, it's only 3%. So a 6% GDP growth is still very strong, despite the fact that it seems to be disappointing for the Philippines. So that said, there are a lot of blessings that we should be thankful about in the country. Okay, so what are the other challenges of investing in the stock market? These are the problems that we usually hear or encounter from investors why they don't invest in the stock market. Too busy, we don't have the time, we don't know what stocks to buy, we don't know how to do stock picking. I only have very small capital, so it's hard to diversify. And of course, sometimes you have small capital, you can't buy anything, di ba? But the good news is mutual funds. You can now buy mutual funds to address these problems. And buying mutual funds is actually a proxy to buying individual stocks. Okay, so how do you invest in stocks through mutual funds? Or what are mutual funds anyway? So what happens is there is a group of investors who say invest 5,000 each, 10,000. It can be different amounts. But the thing is, a mutual fund is a pooled fund. All the money of numerous investors will be put together in a mutual fund, and it will be invested by a professional asset management company headed by a professional fund manager to buy different stocks that are listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange. So the good news is, as an investor, you will now, as an investor of the mutual fund, you will have a share in these investments in all the different companies. Okay, so again, the good news is, the mutual fund is professionally managed, immediately diversified, because the asset management company and the professional fund manager will buy many stocks, and it's actually very affordable. I mean, we started out, COL Financial, when we started out distributing mutual funds, the minimum investment is 5,000. But now I think you can invest for as little as 1,000 pesos, which is, in my opinion, very affordable. No, so there should be no excuse why you can't afford to buy it anymore, because the hurdle rate has actually gone down, because I think the asset management companies have realized that they have to bring it down to make investments even more affordable and accessible to the regular Filipinos. Okay, so when we talk about diversification, here is an example of what's inside or the top 10 holdings of a mutual fund company. Okay, so most likely they would have SM Investments, SM Prime, Ayala Land, Ayala Corporation, BDO, BPI, PLDT, JG Summit, Jollibee, URC. Okay, 66% of the portfolio. So this is just an example. Some funds would have a different mix, but in general, they would have all these companies as part of it because these are large index constituents. No? So can you imagine, with your 5,000 pesos, you actually own shares in this company, which is not bad, very diversified mix of very good names in the Philippines. Okay. So, this webinar is actually about bonuses, but I would like to encourage you to make it your New Year's resolution to make investing a regular habit. Okay. So hopefully you can promise yourself, or at least make it your goal, to set aside 50% of bonuses and 50% of any pay increases you get next year as investments, especially for those who haven't started investing yet. I know it's very hard if you've been used to a certain lifestyle, spending all your salary, and then to ask you to set aside some money for investing. But it's not too late. If you get a pay increase next year, you could set aside, or promise yourself that you will set aside 50% of the increase you will get next year as investments. And I guess for you to achieve that, resist the temptation to upgrade your lifestyle when you get a pay increase. Keep your lifestyle constant so that at least you can actually set aside that money. Okay, differentiate between needs and wants, because obviously our wants are very expensive versus our needs. So For example, cell phones. An iPhone, I heard, costs around 50,000 pesos. Very expensive. But I asked around how much is a good smartphone. Okay, that's very affordable. I think the staff in our office said you could actually buy one for 7,000 pesos. So just from that alone, you could save a lot of money, more than 40,000. Okay, that you can set aside for investments. Okay, and tips on how to stay disciplined in investing. Open a separate bank account from your payroll account and schedule an automatic fund transfer every payday, so you actually don't see the money anymore in your payroll account, to resist, to remove the temptation of spending the money and automatically invest the money. There's also a function for a lot of brokers where, the moment the money is transferred to the separate account, then you could also program an automatic purchase of stocks or funds during certain dates, so that it's very mechanical and you cannot override it anymore. Okay. Okay, and you don't know how to time the market. Is that a worry? There's an investment program that we are actually recommending investors. It's the peso cost averaging. Okay, so peso cost averaging is a personal wealth building strategy that involves investing a fixed amount of money at regular intervals over a long period of time. So with this, for example, you may consider investing every month, say 5,000 pesos every month, 1,000 pesos every month, or let's say every quarter, 1,000 pesos, 2,000, 5,000. It's up to you. You are in charge of how much you can set aside. You just program it and just do it regularly. Okay, it's like discipline. It's like exercise. Okay, so this is designed to reduce market risk by stretching out the purchase of investments over time. Okay, so hopefully, you keep your average cost down, because usually the market is trending higher. So you're able to buy your stock slowly. Okay, and for COL Financial, we've had our easy investment program, or our peso cost averaging program, for already 10 years. The anniversary was last August 2018. And we actually did a study of how, if you had actually done it the past 10 years, how would you have performed? So we have our peso cost averaging list of individual stocks. Okay, your annualized return would be around 11%. Gross return of the whole portfolio is around 60%. Okay, that is assuming you set aside 5,000 every month per stock that we recommended. Okay, which explains the reason why the math geniuses there might question how come the gross return of our EIP list is lower than than that of the PSCI index, whereas the annualized return is higher. This is because we add names to the list. That's why there is some difference in the computation. Whereas the PSEI index is always consistent. This is a proxy for buying a mutual fund. Okay, so the gross return is actually higher. Okay, although the annualized return is a little bit lower at 9.4% the past 10 years. Okay, so it actually works. So, you don't have to be stressed about it. So, yan. Okay, peso cost averaging is stress-free investing. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to overanalyze the situation. You just set aside the money every month and have faith that it will work. And it's a consistent long-term approach for investing in the stock market. Okay, so in summary, invest part of your 13th month pay and bonus, because having a high-paying job and savings are not enough to attain financial freedom, which should be our end goal. from all our work. Okay, invest in stocks because they provide the highest return among all asset classes. However, since they tend to be volatile in the short term, we advise investing using long-term funds and to limit the size of your exposure to only a small amount of your portfolio. The earlier you start investing, the more you maximize the power of compounding. Also, don't be afraid of bear markets as stocks only become cheap when there are problems. However, stocks always recover when these problems come to pass. Okay. Also consider making investing a regular habit by committing to set aside 50% of your pay increases and bonuses as investments. Okay. Challenges of stock picking and diversification can be overcome by buying mutual funds instead of individual stocks. So there should be no reason why we shouldn't invest. Okay. Mutual funds can also be bought using the Easy Investment Program or EIP method or the peso cost averaging method, which makes investing automatic, consistent, and stress-free. Okay, thank you. That ends my presentation for this afternoon, and I hope I was able to inspire you to set aside a portion of your 13th month pay and bonuses as an investment. Thank you very much.